As you probably already know, the split step is the foundation to high-level tennis footwork and movement. That is why all high-level tennis players do a split step on every single shot, because it helps them to prepare and set up in the best possible positions for their shots, and the better the position you get set up in, the more likely you are to hit a good quality shot. The way that you split step is actually very important, so in this video I'm going to be breaking down a technique to help you learn to develop a better quality split step. So hopefully you enjoy it and find it helpful. If you do, it'd be great if you give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it always helps me out if you could do that as well. So the focus for this video is the technique of the split step, but I do quickly want to mention that we're trying to time our split step so that we land just after our opponent makes contact. The reason we want to land just after our opponents make contact is because then the ball has traveled a small distance, and hopefully as soon as we land we can recognize where the ball's going, and then we can start to move and set up in position. So that's something you also have to think through as well. If I'm going to land just after my opponent makes contact, I have to take off just before my opponent makes contact. So watching our opponent as they're starting their forward swing, then we're going to be thinking, okay, taking off, so that then just after they've made contact, we're landing, and then we can react and move more quickly. So that's the timing side of things, and at the end of the video I'm going to talk about a limiting factor that really causes late preparation, even if you get the split step perfect. But now we're going to focus on the technical side of things, and there are a few different things to consider in terms of body position. The first one is going to be how wide our feet are when we land, and the wider the better, providing you've got the flexibility to do so. A general rule that you sometimes hear from people is to have a, tennis racket's width, but I personally prefer to land a little bit wider. If you watch a lot of top players, they're going to be wider than that, because the wider you can do it, providing you've got the flexibility, the more quickly you can move to the side. So if I want to move out to a wide forehand, I'm going to be pushing off this leg, dropping this leg underneath, landing on the ball of my foot and moving out like that. So in real time it looks a little bit more like that. Well, I can only do that if I have my feet wide, that enables me to drop my foot underneath. If my feet are close together, instead of being able to do that, I'm going to have to step out. And if you look at the angle of my shin, that's actually going to slow me down. This, my shin pointing that way, helps me move quickly. So having a wide base enables us to move sideways more quickly, and obviously a lot of the movement in tennis is going to be from side to side. So we're thinking about the width. Then we're going to think about kind of our foot position. We're going to want to land on the balls of the feet and on the inside of the balls of the feet. So I'm not going to land with my heels down, because again, I'm not going to be able to move. I want to be on the balls of the feet, so when I'm landing, I'm not right up there. My heels are just, a small amount off the ground. But then I'm also thinking about the insides of the balls of the feet. So I don't want to be landing on the outside, because again, I can't move quickly. Inside of the balls of the feet, because then that lets me push off and move sideways, or move in the different directions that I want to move into. So that's the feet. One factor in that is going to be how strong your feet and ankles are. Some players can't do a split step on every shot because they're not strong enough. So I'll place a resource in the description to help you with that side of things. But then we want to look at the knee bend and actually the knee position as well. So in terms of knee bend, it's not going to be a really deep knee bend. We're not going to be as quick moving out of this position. It's just going to be a relatively small knee bend. The exact depth that you go to kind of depends a little bit on your strength and the length of the bones in your legs. So we're just going to say a small knee bend, something that looks like that. And then in terms of the knee position, we're generally thinking the knees slightly inwards. So that might be a little different to what you hear. Maybe if you work with a personal trainer or a physiotherapist, people talk about having the knees going over the toe. Don't worry about that. Watch Tennis Movement. The knee is always caving in. But if I land with my knees pushed outwards like that, before I can move to the side, I then have to bring my knee inwards. So if we just land in this position, this is going to give us a better position to accelerate from. And you can kind of play around with it. You can go in this position, you can have your legs like that, and you can kind of see how stable you feel, and you can kind of drop your knees in a smidgen or a little bit and see how that feels in terms of stability. And you can get someone to push you from the side, and you can kind of play around with the knee position and see what gives you better stability and ability to move from side to side. Next thing we're going to look at is going to be the position of the pelvis. So we want a neutral pelvis. This is a neutral pelvis. This is a forwards pelvic tilt where it kind of arches the back. When you watch most real high-level players play, you don't see them standing like this. You see them standing like this in the ready position with that neutral pelvis, because having the neutral pelvis, one, it means that we can push through the legs more effectively and create more power, and it also means that we can internally and externally rotate them more effectively, which helps with this movement from side to side. So we're going to be thinking neutral pelvis. So can I be, feet hip width and a half, 2 hip widths apart, on the ball of the feet, inside the ball of the feet, knees in a position that you've tested that feels more comfortable and stable, and then a neutral pelvis. And if we can find those positions, we're going to have a really good quality split step. So now you understand the split step technique, but it's really important that you practice it so that getting into a good split step becomes a habit for you. And the way that you want to practice is just transitioning in from different positions. So, there's different ways that we could go about it. I could just stand like this, and I could drop into that split step position. I could be in a split step position, and I could just jump up and land in the split step position. I could practice transitioning from either leg. So I could be doing something like that. You see it from a lot of players. So just kind of doing a casual footwork pattern and then just dropping into the split step. Can I do that off my right leg? Can I do it off my left leg? And it's just literally a case of getting repetitions, doing it over and over again, so that becomes more habitual. A lot of the time when players are returning serve, you'll see them take a step in. So can I step forwards into a split step? Can I do that from my right leg? Can I do it from my left leg? Can I do it from different positions? So can I step from my left leg into there? Can I step from my right leg into there? Can I do that position from the left leg? Oh, I'm meant to be over here. Can I do that position from the right leg? And this might seem like overkill, but you have to use all sorts of different footwork patterns while you're out on court. You never know where you're going to be, and you need to have the ability to just drop into that ready position, into the split step position. Same thing coming back from wide balls. So maybe I've hit a wide forehand, I've done a recovery step, and now I'm moving sideways, and you end up with a funny scissor type movement. So I've hit my wide forehand, recovery step, and I'm coming in off that left leg. I've hit my wide backhand, coming in, recovery step. And you just practice it over and over again until it becomes a habit. You can do it at home, you can do it when you're walking around the street, just dropping into the split step position, terrifying your friends around you. However you do it, you just got to get enough repetitions so that it becomes habitual. So then once you get out and you're practicing and you're playing, you've got the technique down, and then you just have to focus on the timing side of things. So you understand the technique, you've got a few ideas of how to practice it to develop the habit, you understand the timing component, but there is something that we do need to mention, and that is that even if you get all of that stuff right, you can still be slow to react if you're not capable of reading the flight of the ball quickly and effectively. And unfortunately, that's something that holds a lot of adult players back, plain and simply because their visual systems just don't work well enough. We spend all our times looking down at phones and looking at screens, and that does the opposite of preparing your visual system to play tennis. The good news though is that you can actually improve your visual function so you can read the flight of the ball, prepare more quickly, set up in better positions, have better timing and all that good stuff. And if you'd like to learn how to do that, I invite you to my next Neuro Tennis Challenge. This is a free 5-day event where you get to come and learn how to use brain-based training to improve various different skills so that then you can become a better tennis player. So I'll place a link to that down in the description, or you can go to neurotennis.net/challenge to learn more and register. Okay, hopefully this has been helpful for you. Split step, so important. It really is worth spending time learning how to do it well, because it can completely change the way that you move around court and help you get set up in better positions. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.